We got a lot to get to today. We're going to get to what's real, what's fake from the past weekend in just a second. Before we get into that, I need to address something in regards to Taysom Hill and my New Orleans Saints. Taysom Hill's being universally praised right now. People in the media are crediting Sean Payton for being right about Taysom Hill. The same people in the media who 3 weeks ago were criticizing Sean Payton and saying that Taysom Hill didn't have what it takes to be a starting quarterback in this league. Interesting. Funny how quickly opinions can change. I read an article on Yahoo Sports, and it broached the subject of the Saints possibly staying with Taysom Hill once Drew Brees is cleared to return from his injury. Drew Brees should be cleared to return this week, actually, against Philadelphia, but I think Sean Payton is going to hold him back until week 15 against Kansas City, and I think that's been the plan all along. First of all, there is no way in hell that Taysom Hill is going to remain the starting quarterback in New Orleans once Drew Brees is healthy. There is not a doubt in my mind that Taysom Hill is going to be the starter next year, but the Saints are loaded. This roster is loaded. This might be the best team since the 2009 Super Bowl team. You can make the case that New Orleans is the best team in the NFL right now. Sean Payton is not relying on what is essentially a first-year quarterback in the playoffs. This is still Drew Brees' team, at least for the next 2 months. I say on here all the time that statistics can be misleading. You see Taysom Hill's stat line from Sunday's game against the Falcons. 27 of 37, completed 73% of his passes, 232 yards, 2 touchdowns, added another 83 yards on the ground. Now that's a great game, right? On paper, it doesn't get much better than that. Taysom Hill played exceptionally well for 3 quarters. But when the pressure was on, when it was crunch time, when it was time to put the game away in the 4th quarter, Taysom Hill folded under the pressure. He damn near gave the game away. If not for the Saints' defense, which is a stifling physical defense, New Orleans loses that game on Sunday against Atlanta. The Saints had 32 yards of offense in the 4th quarter. They had the chance to put the game away early on in the 4th quarter. The defense sacked Matt Ryan, forced a fumble, giving Taysom Hill and the offense the ball in the red zone. Score at that point is 21-9. Any points would essentially end the game. And what happens? 2nd and 5. Taysom Hill drops back to pass, can't make a decision, holds the ball way too long, and fumbles. Gives the ball right back to Atlanta. Shifts all the momentum back to the Falcons, who at that point had only 185 yards of total offense. They had been dominated once again by the Saints defense. Now, if this were a one-off mistake by Taysom Hill, I could let it slide. But this is a trend. This is a problem. He has fumbled the ball 9 times this season. 5 of those coming in the last 3 games when he's been the starting quarterback. Hell, he had 3 fumbles Sunday against the Falcons. Saints, final drive of the game. 1.5 to go. He fumbles again. Now, luckily, the ball went out of bounds. But my point is, Taysom Hill was dreadful in the 4th quarter. And look, I don't want to be too critical of him, because Sean Payton didn't do him any favors. I thought Sean Payton's play calling in that 4th quarter was atrocious. We all know Sean Payton loves Taysom Hill. But at times, I feel like he is on this mission to prove to everyone that he has been right all along about it. In crunch time, after all of the fumbling, he continued to put the ball in the hands of Taysom Hill. Now, Sean Payton had essentially abandoned the run game early in the 4th quarter. But late, when they were trying to run out the clock, he consistently called runs for Taysom Hill. Now, mind you, you've got a red-hot Alvin Kamara in the backfield. You've got Latavius Murray, who is a bruiser-type running back. You've got 2 capable running backs that can get you yards and grind out the clock, close out the game, and not fumble the ball. Instead, it was the Taysom Hill show, and it nearly cost the Saints the game. Now, that being said, Taysom Hill has proven himself the last 3 games. He's proven himself. And I expect that he'll look good this week against Philadelphia. But to even mention that Sean Payton would keep a healthy Drew Brees on the sidelines and start Taysom Hill going forward and into the playoffs is just lunacy. The Saints are legitimate Super Bowl contenders. They're by far the best team in the NFC. As much as Sean Payton loves him some Taysom Hill, he is not going to risk the chance in another Super Bowl ring to start him over Drew Brees when he's got a future Hall of Famer on the sidelines, proven winner, ready to go. Now let's get into what's real, what's fake from this past weekend. And for those of you that are new subscribers, what we do here every Tuesday is we take headlines from the past weekend and we determine what's real, or what I agree with, and what's fake, which could be an overreaction to something or just outright stupidity. First up, we can finally trust Baker Mayfield and the Cleveland Browns. Fake. Got this one from Bleacher Report. I've probably been more critical of Baker Mayfield in the 16 or so months that I've been on this channel than any other quarterback in the NFL. And I'll give credit where credit is due. Baker Mayfield was fantastic Sunday against the Titans. That was the best game of his NFL career. I don't know if he came into that game with a chip on his shoulder or a point to prove, but if he did, he proved it in the first half. Baker Mayfield went off in that first half. The Browns put up 38 points before halftime. Game was over. Now, the final score was closer than the game actually was, and I'm not going to sit here and criticize Cleveland for giving up 28 points in the second half, only scoring 3. That happens all the time in the NFL. Team builds a big first half lead, offense goes conservative, defense goes into prevent, other team comes back a little bit. Now, that being said, I'm just not ready to trust Baker Mayfield. One great game is not going to erase 3 years of inconsistent play. Look at what happens anytime Baker Mayfield goes up against a strong defense. Baltimore, dominated. Pittsburgh, dominated. The Colts. He struggled in that game against Indianapolis, even though the Browns won. Like I said, I give credit to Baker Mayfield for his performance Sunday, but that game to me was more an indictment of the Titans' defense. Mike Vrabel's defense is god-awful. They've given up 30 or more points 6 times this season. The Titans are in trouble, guys. I mean, they're going to make the playoffs, but this is not a Super Bowl caliber team. Derrick Henry gets a lot of credit for their postseason push last year, making the AFC Championship, and rightfully so. But the defense in Tennessee is what carried them in the playoffs. They don't have that luxury this year. Anyway, let's get back to Baker Mayfield. We're about to find out what he is made of over the next 4 weeks. 3 of the last 4 games are against Baltimore, the Giants, and Pittsburgh. Ravens, number 3 defense. Giants, number 8. Steelers, number 1. If he plays well over the last month of the season, then maybe I will change my mind on Baker Mayfield. But putting together 2 great games against Jacksonville and Tennessee, 2 poor defenses, is not enough to change my mind. All right, next up. There is no going back to Carson Wentz now. Real, with a caveat. I got this one from Sports Illustrated. We talked last week about Carson Wentz and the Eagles, and I mentioned that they could be past the point of no return. Well, Sunday in Green Bay, if they weren't past that point going into that game against the Packers, they are now. Sports Illustrated, absolutely right. There's no going back. I believe Carson Wentz has played his last game in an Eagles uniform. Doug Peterson made that loud and clear. You don't bench your franchise quarterback in order to generate a spark. That's what Doug Peterson said after the game, that he put in Jalen Hurts to get a spark offensively. Yeah, the problem was he kept him in the rest of the game. Now, Carson Wentz has struggled with his confidence all season. Doug Peterson apparently doesn't give a damn, because benching Carson Wentz damn sure isn't giving him a confidence boost. Wentz apparently lost confidence when the Eagles drafted Jalen Hurts, or that was part of it. Now, I see some comparing him to Aaron Rodgers, saying that Aaron Rodgers didn't budge when the Packers drafted Jordan Love, and Carson Wentz should have handled his situation in the same manner. But that's just not a fair comparison. For one, Aaron Rodgers has already achieved legendary status. He's a future Hall of Famer, Super Bowl winner, two-time league MVP. His status is cemented. Carson Wentz isn't close to that level. Now, he had already survived a quarterback controversy with Nick Foles. He finally got healthy enough to play a full 16-game season, gets his big contract, carries a practice squad roster to the playoffs last year. Then the Eagles turn around and kill his confidence by drafting Jalen Hurts in the second round. The reason I said a second ago, real with a caveat, Carson Wentz is going to have to restructure his contract to get out of Philadelphia. We went over the specifics last week, but the short version is, it is too expensive for the Eagles to release him or to trade him. But if I'm Carson Wentz, I would be doing anything at this point to get the hell out of Philadelphia. He's not liked in the locker room. Have you guys noticed that not one Eagles player has come to the defense of Carson Wentz all season? That to me speaks volumes. That should tell you all that you need to know. The fans in Philadelphia, they don't like him. Wentz is taking the bulk of the blame for the Eagles sitting at 3-8-1 and looking to fail to win the NFC East, the worst division in the NFL. But it is not Carson Wentz's fault. What the hell do you want him to do? He has been sacked 50 times this season. Sunday alone, he was sacked 4 times. Damn near 25% of the time that he drops back to pass, he's getting sacked. The Eagles have an aging roster that can't stay healthy. Simply put, the Eagles suck. And it's not Carson Wentz's fault. Any quarterback would struggle right now in Philadelphia. I don't care who it is. Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees. Any quarterback facing the consistent pocket pressure that Carson Wentz does would struggle. If you're Doug Peterson, you can't go back to Carson Wentz at this point. If Jalen Hurts struggles, then he struggles. And he will struggle because the offensive line can't pass protect. I know he led the Eagles on a touchdown drive, but I don't put any stock in his performance Sunday against the Packers. They don't have any film on him, and the Packers were up big in that game. Defense led up trying to run out the clock. It's going to be an interesting offseason in Philadelphia. The Eagles can't get out of Carson Wentz's contract until 2022. So if he wants to play hardball, he can refuse to restructure and make $34 million next season to essentially do nothing. If I were him, though, I would restructure and find my way to a team in a city that will appreciate me. Carson Wentz is in desperate need of a fresh start at this point in his career. All right, next up. Don't count out Cam Newton and the New England Patriots. Fake. I got this one from NFL.com. The article is talking about not counting out New England making the playoffs. Now, I hate to doubt the great one. I hate to doubt the greatest coach in the history of the NFL. And I even had New England making the playoffs before the season, but I just don't see this team making it. For one, they're 2 games out of the 7 seed with 4 games to go. New England has won 4 of their last 5 games, but who have they really beaten? The Jets, who were in the business of just giving games away. Baltimore was a decent win. Arizona, the Cardinals, they're falling apart. They're at risk of not even making the playoffs. And they beat the Chargers on Sunday. A team that has essentially given up on the season and who's likely about to fire Anthony Lynn. The schedule is about to toughen up for the Patriots. Rams, Dolphins, Bills, all in the next 3 weeks. At minimum, New England needs to win 3 of their next 4 games to have a chance at making the playoffs. They might even have to win all 4 of them. Looks like it's going to take 10 wins to score a wild card spot in the AFC. But let me tell you the main reason I don't think the Patriots are going to make the playoffs. They are not capable of throwing the football. New England is nearly dead last in passing, in a passing league. Cam Newton has passed for less than 100 yards 2 straight weeks. In their win against Arizona 2 weeks ago, Cam Newton had a quarterback rating of 23.6. Now, the Patriots still won, but that is an outlier. The exception. 99 times out of 100, your quarterback has a QBR of 23. You are losing. Now, New England runs the ball well. They play good defense, but you can't win consistently in the NFL without passing the football. I don't care if your coach is Bill Belichick, who is a wizard when it comes to game planning. The problem is, what happens if you go down early? What happens when you're looking at a 14-point deficit in the first quarter? New England doesn't have the firepower offensively to mount a comeback. This offense is a grind, 4 to 5 yards at a time on the ground. They don't manufacture big plays through the air. We've seen it a couple of times already this season. Patriots fall behind big, can't come back. It happened a few weeks ago against the Texans. They were down 21-10 at halftime, end up losing by 7. Happened against San Francisco, fell down 23-3 early, never recovered. Both the Rams and the Bills can put up points in a hurry. The Dolphins had that ability with Ryan Fitzpatrick. Not so much now with a struggling Tua. I actually think New England will beat Miami, but I can't see the Patriots beating either the Rams or the Bills. I definitely can't see them closing out the season 4-0. This team has 8-8 written all over them, and with the AFC being loaded, 8-8 is not enough to get into the playoffs. All right, last but not least, NFC East leading Giants are a playoff threat. Real. I got this from Yahoo Sports. All season, we have thought that the winner of the NFC East was going to be a pushover in the playoffs. An easy win to whoever was lucky enough to match up against them in the wild card round. The Giants right now are playing the style of football that won them 2 Super Bowls with Eli Manning. Strong running game, super physical defense. Joe Judge is looking like Bill Parcells and Tom Coughlin with his coaching style. Now, I'm not saying that the Giants are a Super Bowl threat. That is not the case, but they're not going to be an easy win in the playoffs. Lost in their 1-7 start was the fact that they were in most of those games. 4-point loss to Chicago, 3-point loss to Dallas, 1-point loss to the Eagles, 2-point loss to Tampa. I believe that game against Tampa Bay turned their season around. Even though the Giants lost that game, this young team proved that they could hang with Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. After that game, it was a 4-game winning streak, capped off Sunday with their best win of the season at Seattle. The Giants' defense completely shut down Russell Wilson, who's been in the MVP conversation all year. The focus right now for the Giants should be on getting Daniel Jones healthy. They really need him back in the next week or two. The schedule is tough over the next 3 weeks. Cardinals, Browns, Ravens. Even though the Giants have a strong lead in the NFC East and swept the season series against the Redskins, they haven't wrapped up the division yet. This division is still open, so they're likely going to need 7 wins to secure the division. Even though the Giants could be a threat in the playoffs, the ultimate goal this season should be about getting experience. Daniel Jones needs playoff experience. Hell, this young Giants team, they all need playoff experience. But this is one of those teams that you don't want to see in the playoffs because the Giants have nothing to lose. They're not supposed to be there. They're playing with house money. Teams like that are dangerous in January. That's all for today. Hit that like and subscribe button. Click the notification bell to receive all notifications from the channel. Leave me a comment in the section below. Tell me where I'm wrong. Are the Giants not a playoff threat? Do you think the Patriots can make the playoffs without a legitimate passing game? And will Carson Wentz remain in Philadelphia after this season? Let me know your thoughts. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com. I'll see you guys next time.